Serving up a warm dish of the Triad's culinary fare, here's your weekly helping of food, news, and views. This is the man who ate the town.
Hey folks, welcome to a bonus, I don't know if it's a bonus so much as supplement edition of The Man Who Ate the Town podcast. Today is the 19th of October. Excuse me. Yesterday, I learned some very sad news. Finnigan's Wake will be closing its doors permanently on October 30th. So I wrote about this on my personal blog, Useless Things Need Love Too. That's uselessthingsneedlove2.com. So I'm going to read over that so you're not subjected to having to read through all my verbosity. However, I feel this, and you'll find out why as we go on. I just wanted you to hear me say it more than just have to read through it. And words are just that on paper. Words are emotion when they're spoken out loud. And I'm doing this without the usual background bar crowd noise and without the usual piano and jazz and dining music in the background. This is just you and me. Let's move on. Finnigan's Wake is, to me, the reason the arts district in downtown Winston-Salem exploded in the aughts in the 2000s. Yes, there were other now staples such as Sweet Potatoes and Sixth and Vine and a couple of other places, but none had the impact that Finn's did. But for me, the impact was even more than reinvigorating an area of town. Practically nothing in my life right now would be like it was or like it is if it weren't for Finn's. You may ask, well, how is that? I was able to realize what others may say is ridiculous, but something I'm very proud of. I was the second ever person to join the 90-day club. Not only did I do the 90 days at Finnigan's, I did 1,099 days in a row there. That got me some recognition and status, I guess. I held that record for a long time until someone came behind me a couple years later, obviously, to beat that. That's for you counting. That's 3 years and 2 days. I was at Finnigan's. I was Trivia Tim. I didn't start the pub trivia at Finnigan's. That would be Opie. But I took it over after the first 3 weeks, and I did it for 6 years after that. Again, people got to know me, spend time with me, and my network was greatly and largely expanded because of that. The Less Desirables podcast was conceived, hatched, and born, sitting at the high top table right next to the hallway. Back before the dining room even opened, it was just the pub side. Without that happening, I probably wouldn't have started other podcasts after it. No Fan Interference, no Camel City Dispatch, Electric Camel Pod, no Tart and Tangy Triad, no Beer Dads, no The Man Who Ate the Town, this podcast. No Sipping NC, The Art of Drinking. No Apartment 5B. No Beeswax Vinyl. No Beeswax Vinyl Daily. No Asylum, Tales from the Devereaux Diaries. No Wheeler's Dog. No The Less Desirables Network. No podcast clients. Heck, without Fins, there may not even be a podcasting community here in Winston-Salem to speak of, at least as it is. Now, don't hear this as being conceited. That's not what this is. It's not what I mean by this. But I know 2 or 3 podcasts in town that are thriving. because they were inspired by me doing the Less Desirables or one of the others. And they've told me that. I'm not just thinking that I'm that important, because I really don't think that. I am happy that these folks are doing their podcasts and they're getting some recognition for it. Even outside of this town, there are people who have been inspired by me doing the Less Desirables. I've been doing it longer than anybody else around here. No podcasting would mean no podfather, as they call me. All that I am and do wouldn't be here like it is if there was no Finnigan's Wake. In fact, the first place I ever met Brian Attridge, who started the Less Desirables with me, was at Finnigan's Wake. The revitalization of downtown in general may have still happened, but it wouldn't be what it is. And the landscape of the downtown scene would be completely different if Philip Opie Kirby and John Cahoon hadn't opened the Irish pub in October of 2006. It was the first place that I ever met John Louder, one of the beer dads, and a partner, a friend that I've come to thank for many of my accomplishments. The first meeting with John was at Finnigan's. Several of my friends who are in relationships met at Finnigan's Wake, which brings me to the biggest link that Finn's has for me. I met my wife. Sometimes I call her the BCPF. All the time I call her Stephanie. At Finnigan's Wake, I met her there. If she hadn't come in with her friends and to play trivia and get away from her toxic dead-end marriage, and we hadn't started having small talk conversations, I wouldn't have ever had the opportunity to ask her, "Are you married, Steph?" That conversation and the fact that she had a birthday soon around that time, and I did a special trivia category for her, led to us having our 11:10 p.m. nightly computer conversations on Facebook, which led to us being great friends, which led to us being more than friends, which led to us being affianced, which led to us being life partners and husband and wife. Finnigan's Wake is the portal to my survival, to my life, to my being, to my loves. I so appreciate that Opie has kept the pub going for so long. The pandemic was hard for everybody, as we talk about every week on this show, and have all through the pandemic. It led to changes within the business. But Opie says it's not about the pandemic. He said the restaurant was actually kept alive by the community and the patrons. He says this is about him and wanting to start something new. Move in a new direction, pursue new ideas and thoughts. He has been all over the world. As far as I know, he's touched every continent. If he's missing one, I think it's Australia. He's bought houses. He's raised money for charities. He's made himself better. He's made the community better. I'm glad for my friend that he's okay and just starting a new chapter. I think sometimes we all just need to turn the page. When I read that this was happening, it felt as if I had lost a friend, or at the very least been kicked in the teeth or in the crotch. The memories and recollections of the last 14 years of my life, with the exception of the last one, now I have to say I've not been there during the pandemic, mainly because I didn't know when they were open for sure. All those things have relied heavily on my time in those wooden doors, on the other side of those wooden doors, under the green sign with the huge claddagh, the hallowed halls of Finnigan's Wake. Sláinte mhath, Finnigan's Wake. Sláinte mhath. The views and opinions stated by me or any of my guests are solely those of ours and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of our hosting companies, distributors, enemies, friends, or relatives. This podcast is copyrighted and cannot be reproduced or distributed without express written consent of the man who ate the town, that's me, and Such Limited Inc. However, if you ask nicely, we'll probably let you.